Hello viewers, today for the initial checkout we have a RadioShack telephone. This is a 900 megahertz amplified telephone and it is the model number ET-3577. And there is a Uniden branded equivalent of this. I will post the model number in the description that nobody reads. And that one had the Loud&Clear branding on it. This one, despite being more or less the same phone, does not contain the Loud&Clear branding. So hopefully it's not quiet and blurry. The antenna is broken, which is unfortunately the common on these phones because the material degraded in integrity over time and it tends to break if it gets bent at all, and so that broke. But other than that, the telephone is in quite good condition. There's little to no wear on the handset, and there's not a lot of dirt on there either. None of the numerics are starting to wear off. There's no scratches on the CLD, and the base is quite clean as well. This is a very nice example of this telephone. Here is the AC adapter. It is, of course, the RadioShack AC adapter. Model number, the A, the D, the dash, the 5, the 4, the 0. And it does take in 120 volts AC at 60 milliamps. And it does output the direct current, or the DC, 9 volts at 350 milliamps. Custom manufactured in China. Made in the China. And as far as the polarity is concerned, the center is the positive, which leads the outside to be the negative. It does have the slightly smaller plug, the yellow one, which is still a pretty standard size. It's not hard to find a replacement one of these should the need happen to arise. So let's get this adapter untied here, and I'll plug it into the telephone. Which has a number of physical controls on here, despite being a basic telephone with no answering machine, Digitan or Anitan. We have a tone pulse control up here at the top, and then on the side we have the switch control to change the visual ringer, the ringer tone, which I believe there's quite a few on here if I'm recalling correctly, ringer volume, which is of the infinite range, and ringer on or off. Paging button here. Let's get the phone line connected as well. And let's see what kind of battery we have in this telephone. If I can get the cover off. We have what looks like could be the original battery. We have the nickel cadmium rechargeable battery. It is the 3.6 volts at the 600 milliamps, which is a very standard size and configuration that Uniden used. Manufactured by the BYD, which I believe is still in operation, and it was unfortunately made in China, so it probably doesn't still work. And this is 08A06, which I believe is the date code, reading June of 2008. I haven't tried to charge this up. There's a chance that it could still work. I have seen these work for decades on end, but I'm not going to bother with that for this video. I have this other battery, this mayonnaise, I don't know what kind of funny man brand that is, for BT905, which is ultimately what this is. This would be, if it was sold in a Uniden phone, this would be a BT905. This battery claims to be the 2000 milliamps, which is quite a significant increase over the other one, which is the 600. This also is the nickel metal hydride chemistry instead of the nickel cadmium, which theoretically would be better for a cordless phone use case because the nickel metal hydride supposedly does not have the memory effect, whereas the nickel cadmium batteries are more prone, again theoretically, to the memory effect. However, on the other hand, the nickel cadmium batteries have a better resilience to overcharge and to float charging compared to nickel metal hydride. So, you know, it is what it is. I have found, in my opinion, that the nickel cadmium batteries seem to last longer most of the time when used in cordless phones. If you have a really good charging circuitry, which Uniden did seem to have, both will last quite a while. So anyways, let's get this plugged in here in the handset. It says to use only the model number RS model, which probably is RadioShack model 23-193, which I suspect would be a catalog number of some kind. And then there again we have the catalog number of the phone, which is the same as the model number, which is the 43 or the 3577. And unfortunately this was made in the China, but I think it will still work. Alright, the battery is connected to the telephone, and I'm going to put the battery cover back on. The battery is charged up. Let's put that on the handset, or on the base rather, to synchronize the security code. And let's see if it will connect. It did. The screen seems like it's kind of slow. I don't know if it's just because it's cold in here. It is kind of cold. It's only 58 degrees in here. I don't know if it would be okay on a regular basis. I mean, it's still working. It's just a little bit dim at first. No dead pixels, which is usually the case with the Uniden. Oh, actually, there may be a contrast issue here because if you noticed on the right side it's normal, and then on the left it's kind of a little bit more faded. I don't think these have a contrast adjustment. No, I don't see one. It definitely seems to me like there could be something wrong with the screen, perhaps, which is very odd. Very odd for Uniden. The screens on Uniden phones are consistently very good. Okay, so that's that. It's still readable, but it does seem like it's not quite right. Well, let's begin by calling up this telephone and see what the ring sounds like. Okay, that sounds different than I remember it. Let's lower that down a bit because some people complain that the volume is too loud. Oh, I guess it was just distorting. I'm not sure if these are the same tones as the Uniden branded one or not. I don't remember. Okay, the auto talk is the working. So we have a plethora of rings on here. there's something wrong with that speaker. It sounds kind of distorted. Okay, so we may have to get that replaced. I'm not sure if that's functioning correctly. Yeah, it's funny how the nicest physically looking phones usually seem to be the ones that have a problem, which is odd because I would think that these were used the least. The handset ringer on these, I think, was really one of the only flaws that these phones had. The handset ringer is absolutely nothing out of the ordinary, or really any louder at all than the other analog 900 megahertz phones that they were selling. In fact, I think there were some other models that had louder handset rings. Of course, the bass ring makes up for it, but it's still disappointing. I wish the handset ringer was a lot louder. So let's go over to the outside line. I'll put that amplifier on, and let's make a call. Jeez. That was medium volume. That's low. And then we'll put the boost on. That's outrageously loud.
Shred another bank statements at peoples.com. Peoples United Bank NA. Today is Monday, May 20th. United Bank time 7:39. Current temperature 59.
Partly sunny today, highs upper 60s. Partly cloudy tonight, lows in the low 50s. Partly sunny Tuesday, highs low 70s.
If it was feeding back at all, it's because I had my hand over the microphone. Do that again. So we didn't get, it's feedback. No, it's not.
Good evening. Over 400 branches and over 600 ATMs from New York to Maine. People's United Bank NA, member FDIC. Today is Monday, May 24th. People's United Bank, time 7. Current temperature 59 degrees.
The volume on that is just outrageous. Okay, so the incoming audio is fine. It sounds a hair tinny, but that may just be how these phones sound. I didn't use it for a very long period of time. I just don't remember. So now I will switch over to the internal line here, and I will call the testing answering machine and record a testing message.
3 new messages and 7 old messages. Message 1.
Answer is distributed because you noticed on the right side it's normal, and then on the left it's kind of a little bit more faded.
Message 2.
This is the first testing message with the RadioShack 900 megahertz loud and clear telephone. It sounds like there's quite a bit of side tone to this phone, which I distinctly remember not being the case with the Uniden branded model. So perhaps there is some differences to this telephone more than I thought. I am hearing a slight hum in the background, kind of like an AC 60 hertz hum, which is most likely a function of the AC adapter. So perhaps the AC adapter is spoiling. I am traversing across the room now. I am almost all the way on the other side of the room, and I did hear a couple of bits of static here and there, but otherwise it is coming in clearly. So that will conclude the testing message. I'm going to hang up this call using the talk button, and then I'll record a second message and hang up into the base so you can hear what that sounds like. I'm also going to change the channel. I'm going to change the channel right now. Okay, the channel was just changed. I'm going to change it one more time. Okay, and now I am going to hang up with the talk button. Geese honk, skunk stink, over and out.
Message 3.
This message is to show, or rather to audibilize, or whatever the heck the word is, what the phone sounds like when you hang up into the base.
End of messages.
Okay, that did sound good. It sounded very clear. And it definitely seems like the pickup on this is kind of hotter than usual, which is great. But I find that odd because I don't recall that being the case with the Uniden one that I used. The handset can go into the base either way. And this, doing it this way is kind of more ergonomic, you know, because this is like if you were using a conventional phone. Like, let's say, we'll just imagine that this is a 2500 set and it's sitting like this. That's how you would pick it up, and you would put it to your ear like this, and then you would hang it up. So, in fact, hanging it up this way is very unnatural, because when you pick it up, it's facing the wrong way, and you have to turn it and then put it to your face, and it's the same thing. You have to turn it, you know, turn it in your hand and then put it into the base. So it really is a lot more natural, at least for me anyways, to put it into the base like that. So I think that will conclude the video of this RadioShack quiet and blurry cordless telephone. It is going to need some repairs. It's going to need a new speaker in the base, and it's going to need an antenna repair, but otherwise it is working well.